Yo, yo, yo. This week on the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, episode 92, we created the greatest MLB All-Star game of all time, American League versus National League. I tell you who wins and who made this team. Also, in the NBA, we had a lot of talk in the last couple weeks about scores. I have the top 10 greatest scores in NBA history. You don't want to miss this list. Sit back, relax. The X-Factor Sportz Podcast, episode 92 starts right now. Tonight on Wednesday, YouTube, every week you can check out the X-Factor Sportz Podcast. It's your boy Jay Mondane. I want to thank everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. We are on audio everywhere, also Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, you name it, we're there, the X-Factor Sportz Podcast. All right, let's go ahead and get into the quick news before we dive into these segments. All-Star weekend, All-Star weeks coming up. We got the WNBA. Their All-Star game is Saturday, July 19th. Before that, we got Major League Baseball's All-Star game coming next week before episode 93. So congrats to the women first for the WNBA All-Stars. The picks they made last night, they did it like the NBA used to when you had Team Giannis versus Team LeBron, kind of pickup game style. So Team Nafisha Collier and Team Caitlin Clark picked yesterday. They have their teams. Next week, we're going to get into the teams' rosters and who wins and why, because they don't play till the following Saturday. But I want to send a congratulations out to the three rookies that made the All-Star team this year. Paige Buckers is starting from the Dallas Wings. And then we got two women from the Mystic. We got Miss Sonia Centrone, and then we got Arafin. She played at USC. She is also the third rookie to make the All-Star team this year. First time since 1999, we've gotten three rookies in the All-Star game. So congrats to those ladies. Next week, we tap in and tell you who wins between Team Collier and Team Clark. All right. Major League Baseball, that All-Star game is coming next Tuesday. All right. So that game will happen before episode 93. So I want to touch base on that. The game, the home run derby, and the game is in Atlanta. So for the home run derby, I got Ron Acuna winning that. It's his home field. He's familiar with it. He's familiar with the All-Star game. He also understands the stamina you need to win these games. He understands how they changed the rules last year. I think he'll adjust and put on a show for his home crowd. If you've never been to this stadium in Atlanta, this is one of the best sports stadiums that I've ever been to. And I've been to NFL stadiums, a bunch of NBA stadiums, a bunch of ball fields, Major League Baseball. I love Major League Baseball because every diamond is different. They have different dynamics. Some are pitchers' fields. Some are hitters' fields. I like that. In football, everything is 100 yards, right? In NBA and basketball, it's 94 feet by 50 feet. All the courts are the same. The uniqueness and the excitement about baseball is every field has its own different quirks and personalities. Obviously, the diamond, the infield is the same, but the outfield isn't. So it's always been cool to me to see different baseball fields. And the field in Atlanta is amazing. You walk in, it's outside of the city limits. So you go there, it's like a whole land of ground where you can go get drinks. There's restaurants, all these things before you even get to the gate of the stadium. A bunch of cool stuff outside. There's a Fat Tuesdays there. Me and the homies went a few years back. We loved it. Don't sit in left field. All right. If you go to a day game and it's a sunny day, you're going to melt out there in left field. So don't sit there. But anywhere else in that stadium is dope. The right field on the ground where the bullpen usually is for the pitchers to get warmed up. They've shifted that to right center. And so there's actual seats for fans to sit in right field, which I think is incredible. Like I said, different ball fields in MLB, that type of unique stuff makes it cool. In the outfield, other than sitting in left field seats at 2 p.m, so you won't burn, they got a museum in the back of the outfield. They got all the Boston Braves stuff all the way to Atlanta, all the Hank Aaron stuff, Ty Cobb, like they got everything Braves. You see the World Series rings. It was a dope experience. I suggest people go check that field out if you're a huge baseball person. So the All-Star game and the home run derby's there. I got Ron Acuna Jr. winning the home run derby. In the All-Star game on Tuesday, I got to make a prediction because we'll be back next week on Wednesday, and we'll see if my predictions came to fruition. The American League has won 9 out of the last 10 All-Star games. I don't see anything different here. I got to go for the American League. I'm an American League guy. So I got the American League winning 10 out of these 11. And then I got Kyle Raleigh, who has taken off and become a star from Seattle, from the Seattle Mariners. Kyle Raleigh, I think he wins MVP of the All-Star game. He's also going to be in the home run derby. I got him hitting the home run in the All-Star game, putting on the show. I got the American League taking down the National League as well. So be sure to check out those games, and we'll come back on Wednesday and see if I was right. Okay, so in the spirit of talking baseball, Midsummer Classic, we're right in the thick of it. I put together a roster, an all-star, like an all-time great all-star game, okay? The greatest American League All-Stars by position against the greatest National League All-Stars by position. And I'm going to break it down with y'all and talk about who I think is going to win and why. This is going to be a fun episode because I got lists, things that I came up with to make it fun. I want to see y'all comments. You know, I always shout out and comment back in real time. So be sure to let me know what y'all think. So here's the list without further ado. The greatest all-star game of all time, the American League versus the National League. Here it is right here, all right? So we're going to start with the American League. We got Roger Clemens at pitcher. We got young Roger Clemens from Boston, all right? He played for a bunch of different teams. He's in Houston. He's with the Yankees. I want the Boston Red Sox, Roger Clemens. Then we just got a Yankee Invitational after that. We got 5 Yankees, if you don't count Roger Clemens, in this lineup of 9 with Yogi Berra at catcher, Lou Gehrig. Then you got Rod Carew, played for the Twins back in the day. A-Rod, I'm taking Yankees A-Rod over Mariners A-Rod because he played in New York longer and won a title there, won some Golden Gloves there at third base. So I got A-Rod. Cal Ripken Jr. Some people may jump on here and say, what about Derek Jeter? How's he not on this list? Listen, when we talk about all-time greats, we talk about offense and defense, the combination of the two. I'm going with Cal Ripken Jr. Derek Jeter may have been more clutch, and he's played in more championships, of course. So I don't let that cloud my judgment when I'm making this list. I'm talking about all-stars. And when we talk about what Cal Ripken was, the Iron Man, how many all-star game appearances he has, I'm going with Cal Ripken as my shortstop. I don't think you go wrong either way. But for the sake of the exercise, we're going with Cal Ripken. Then Mr. Stolen Base himself, rest in peace, Ricky Henderson for the Oakland A's, of course. And then you got this outfield, Ricky Henderson, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth. I mean, tough to beat that outfield, but I think the National League's got a better outfield. So going with them. And then Ted Williams at DH. Monster lineup in the American League, right? On the other side, you got the National League. Now, I was juggling between Sandy Koufax and Greg Maddux in terms of which pitcher to put in here for the National League. Maybe it's a little biased because I grew up watching Greg Maddux dominate, and the all-star appearances he has the most Golden Gloves, period, of any player. 18 Golden Gloves. Hard for me to keep him off of a list of all-time greats and all-stars. when you have 18 Gold Gloves. So that was kind of the nod that I gave him over Sandy Koufax. So I'm going with Greg Maddux from the Braves. Johnny Bench, Red Sox catcher, dominant catcher, one of the greatest catchers ever. Albert Pujols at first base when he's with the Cardinals in his prime. Joe Morgan was with the Reds as well. Then you got Mike the Mustache Schmidt for the Phillies. At third base, Ernie Banks. Shout out to Grandma, Granny G. I found this out about my grandmother a few years ago. I was talking to her about sports because I never talked to her about sports. I always talk to her about how she's doing, life, things like that. I was like, Grandma, did you watch sports at all? Like, back in the day when you were growing up? And she was like, yeah, I like the Cubs. And I was like, Grandma, I didn't think she liked sports to begin with. But when she said the Cubs, because she's from the South Side, but she was a Cubs fan. So I dug into that a little more. I'm like, how did you become a Cubs fan? Living on the South Side of Chicago for all those years during the 60s and 70s. She was like, I loved Ernie Banks. So Ernie Banks, for those who don't know, was a black man, shortstop, made history in Chicago, one of the great Chicago Cubs to ever play. So Ernie Banks is my shortstop, paying homage to Granny G. We got him at shortstop, Ernie Banks for the Cubs. And I'm doing this as a White Sox fan. So that tells you that this is real talk, unbiased takes. I'm throwing Ernie Banks in here. And he was great. It ain't just because of Grandma. Go look at the numbers. Ernie Banks was arguably the greatest shortstop ever. So you got to talk about him as well. So, yeah. You got Johan Manis, I think was his name. It was somebody back in the 1800s, early 1900s. I wasn't going to put him in there. He was way, way, way before integration. So I wanted to keep it close as possible and some of the greats we all know. Then this outfield, this might be, when you talk about a combination of offense and defense, this may be the greatest outfield ever. Okay. You got Hank Aaron, you got Willie Mays, and then his godson, Barry Bonds in your outfield. So not only are you not getting anything in the outfield to land on the ground, they hitting everything back to you, but it's going over the fence or in the water, right? So Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays is your outfield. And then you got Stan Musial, Mr. St. Louis Cardinal as well on this team. So the greatest players at their position, they get together in an all-star game. What happens? Okay. This would be a great game. And I wish I still played video games, MLB, whatever, and could put this together and simulate it, but I don't. So we're going to talk about it here. The pitching is dominant. Okay. Roger Clemens and Greg Maddux were both dominant. They played in the same era. The way Greg Maddux dominated the mound was more of a technician is what he was known for. The command he had, right? He knew what pitchers would work on what batters. He knew when to throw them. He knew what part of the game. He knew everybody's stamina. Like, he was just a technician when it came to pitching. Whereas Roger Clemens dominated in a different way. He was more intimidating. Like, he threw fastballs. He was a big guy, right? He's more of the same ilk of a Randy Johnson, the big unit. Like, they just dominated the mound and intimidated you. You didn't want to even walk to the plate because of how they played. So they dominated in different ways. So that's why I put them both on this list. But then when you get to the batting order and you get to the dominance of these hitters, the National League I just talked about, that outfield has almost 2,000 home runs between the three of them. So when you talk about three guys that changed the way baseball was played, I think they get some home runs off of Roger Clemens. I'm not saying Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Mickey Mantle won't get something off on Greg Maddux, but just looking at both sides, offensively and defensively, as much as it pains me to say this, I got to go with the National League winning this game. And I think it'll be a close one. It'll be like a 6-5 type of game, right? The pitching will be great. It'll be good enough. Nobody will go crazy on these pitchers. It ain't going to be 8-9 runs, but also these are the greatest players to ever play. And I feel like Barry Bonds can get a home run off anybody in any era, any pitch. He's the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. I've said that multiple times on this platform, Barry Bonds. And then with Hank Aaron, Mr. Hank Aaron, the great, playing in this game as well. It's hard to go against that. And then you got the defense on the other side in the infield with Mike Schmidt and Ernie Banks at third base and shortstop. What's getting through them? So it's just two dominant teams. You could split hairs, but this is why I want you guys to comment. Let me know what you think. If someone else should have been in this game, if the American League should win this game and why. It's all open for interpretation. It's all fun, but based on these lineups, I got to go with the National League beating the American League. Like I said, the American League, they got Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, right? Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle. So you got power, you got clutch hitting, especially with Ted Williams. Dude batted 406 one year in Major League Baseball. Like, you're playing against the greatest players ever and you batted 406 for a season. So you can never discount greatness, but obviously we got to pick a winner and not split hairs. I just feel like with Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and Barry Bonds, I keep going back to those three. That could arguably be the most fearsome lineup ever. If you bet them, if you put them in the lineup at 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6, like, it's scary to deal with the heart of that lineup. So, but with Roger Clemens, again, the longevity versus Greg Maddox's peak with the Braves. Then you got the American League speed. You got Mickey Mantle, Ricky Henderson speed. They can get on base. So there's a balanced attack there. And then the National League has the balanced attack. So at the end, the X factors in this game, it's going to be that American or that National League outfield. So I got to go with the National League winning this game. All right. So y'all comment below. Let me know what you think. Who would win in this GOAT MLB All-Star game? The greatest players to ever play at their position, get on the field and line up for a game. Who do you have? Do you have the American League? You see this list here, or do you have the National League list? Tap in, comment below. Let me know what you think. All right. Now that we got that off, let's get into it. All right. We still got some basketball we can always talk about for sure, especially on this show. So I came up with this topic because over the past couple of weeks, a lot of NBA players have been getting on social media and been kind of trying to talk they talk, right? Most notably, Paul Pierce, Tracy McGrady, talking about what he would have been, you know, if he replaced Kobe. I got into that last episode 91. Check it out. I go into what's the difference between T-Mac and Kobe. This week, we're hearing Paul Pierce talk about he's the greatest scorer ever. And then he got into context. So you got to have context with what he's saying. He was talking about how he can score. You know, when you talk about Michael Jordan, he talks about, I was a better three-point shooter than Jordan. When you talk about Steph Curry, I'm a better post-up player. So he is basically picking apart individuals' games and where he would be better than them at. This list ain't going to be that, okay? This top 10 list is the total package. And what I'm talking about when I got the top 10 greatest scorers of all time, I am including efficiency, longevity, consistency, scoring titles, like all of that matters, right? How you evolve the game on the offensive end, your dominance, you know, being ahead of your time, all of these things take place. So no disrespect to Paul Pierce, but I don't think of him when I think of these types of players, right? He didn't even average 20 points per game for his career. So to consider yourself an all-time scorer, yes, you can do all of those things, but a lot of players can do all of those things. We don't consider them all-time great scorers. You're just good at scoring, okay? So These names that y'all going to see on these lists will start to make sense as you see the list, okay? But for that reason alone, that's what made me want to put together a top 10 greatest scores of all time in NBA history. And at number 10, we got the great Iceman. We got George Gervin at number 10, okay? One of the greatest shooting guards ever, top 10 in scoring average at 26 a game. He has 4 scoring titles, right? Basically invented and coined the finger roll, one of the smoothest scores there ever was, even coming from the ABA with the Virginia Squires and coming to the NBA in the 70s with the Spurs. The Iceman was known to score on anybody at any time, anywhere on the floor, and could do it so smooth, made it look so easy, could give you 40, 50 points, whatever you wanted. Iceman could give that to you. So I got George Gervin at number 10 all time. At number 9, this guy, he changed the way offense looks in the NBA, okay? He's one of the guys, James Harden. When pace and space became a thing, when it became in vogue in the NBA, right? Because back in the early mid-2000s, Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns was 7 seconds or less, and they were pace and space. But when it actually became analytical, rules had to change because of how James Harden was dominating on the offensive end, okay? So he's a 3-time scoring champ, okay? Probably the king of the step back 3. When it comes to creating space, the way James Harden can do that to score, he has underrated strength on the offensive end, okay? He can get to the foul line. He makes free throws at a high clip. He's efficient based on the volume that he shoots the ball at. A good 3-point shooter, can score at all 3 levels. So you got to put James Harden on this list, especially for how he's changed the game offensively in this era. James Harden at number 9, the beard. At number 8, one of my favorite players to ever play the game, Mr. Pound for Pound himself, the answer, AI, Allen Iverson, okay? Probably 6 feet tall if he put on shoes. But one of the greatest scorers this league has ever seen, can score from the mid-range, off screens. You know, they coined a thing called the Iverson cut, which was his patented move where he cut across the defense, free throw line extended, catch the ball, open up, triple threat. His quickness, he can go by you. He finishes at the rim on anybody. He played in the era with Mutombo, Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, right? He played in that era with trees around him, where real centers played. And Tim Duncan in his prime, Kobe Bryant in his prime, Tracy McGrady in his prime, Paul Pierce in his prime. All of these guys, Kevin Garnett was in his prime. And a 6 feet tall Allen Iverson won 4 scoring titles and an MVP and a scoring title in the same year. Even though they don't have that online as one of the players that won a league MVP and a scoring title in the same season, look it up. Allen Iverson did it in 2001, one of his 4 scoring titles. If he was 6'5", 6'6", he may be regarded as one of the greatest players ever. He probably would have won some titles, probably would have won more MVPs. But when it comes to scoring the ball, there ain't too many people that do it like AI, and especially at his size. AI, Allen Iverson, baby, the answer. Number 8. At number 7, we talk about changing the game, okay? The babyface assassin. When it came to spacing out the court along with James Harden, I don't know if anybody has done it as well and as effectively and has changed the game forever the way Steph Curry has. One of the greatest scorers ever, the all-time leader in three-pointers made, the greatest shooter this league has ever seen, has to be one of the greatest scorers. If you are the greatest shooter ever, you have to be one of the greatest scorers, right? 2 scoring titles for Steph Curry, revolutionized the game. Defenses have to start playing defense 35 feet out because of him, right? Offenses have completely changed. The center position is almost obsolete. Either you play in a dunker spot or you got to play pick and pop because of the offense that Steph Curry has instituted into basketball, along with his fellow Splash brother Klay Thompson. But the way that Steph Curry scores, if he wasn't hampered by injury for a couple of years, he may be at 25,000 points by now, right? So I look at scoring a lot differently than your average guy does, than your average fan. I look at how you score and how you get open. When it comes to separation, he does it with his ball handling. He does it with his stamina. He does it with pin downs. He does it with flare screens. He does it with cross screens. He does it with curls. All the different types of ways you need to get the ball offensively, Steph Curry can do all of those things. So when a lot of people think about scoring, they just think about putting the ball in the basket. He doesn't average as much as so-and-so. But when you break down how to score the basketball and how to get open looks, there is a handful of people that do it better than Steph, and it's not very many. So Steph Curry is on this list at number 7. At number 6, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay, he was the all-time scoring leader in NBA history, 38,000 points before LeBron took it over a few years ago. Again, this scoring list is a combination of things. The longevity and the consistency that you have to score 38,000 points shows that you are a scorer, okay? Even if you don't want to be called one, the numbers speak for itself. And there was a point in time where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was regarded as one of the best players in the world for like 20 years. Even when he was at UCLA winning titles, they were like, when this kid gets to the NBA, he will be the best player in the league. He might be the best player now. All right. He's been scoring at a high clip since high school. Okay. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the unstoppable skyhook, that's why we use that image. And he could do it from 8 feet out, 10 feet out, 12 feet out, 15 feet out, 17 feet out. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can make this skyhook with consistency. It's an unstoppable move. That's not all he had. He had the left shoulder, the right shoulder. He can face up and shoot a jump shot. He had post moves. All of the arsenal you need to play in the post to be effective and dominant in the post. And he was clutch in the playoffs. You could go to him in the playoffs. You can go to him in close games. If he got fouled, he's knocking down free throws, which is a feather in the cap for a center. Not too many centers can do that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the greatest scorers ever, at number 6. At number 5, all right, before we dive into the top 5, remember, y'all can comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if someone else should be on the list that isn't, right? We are on YouTube Wednesday nights. We are everywhere on audio podcasts, so y'all can comment and let me know what you think. We get into the top 5. This is where we start splitting hairs, obviously getting nitpicky. These are the best of the best. So let's get to it. At number 5, LeBron James, okay? As much as LeBron James fans like to say, and he ain't even a scorer like that, stop it, okay? This dude is like 8th all time in scoring average. He has the most points in NBA history. He has over 40,000 points, okay? So I don't want to hear this, he's not a scorer, okay? His scoring average and his consistency in putting the ball in the basket speaks for itself. For these people that say he's a pass first, score second guy, stop, okay? Magic Johnson was a pass first guy. That's why he averaged 9, 10 assists for his career and 19 points per game. That's why averages mean something, okay? That's a pass first guy. John Stockton was a pass first guy. Chris Paul, okay? LeBron James is a scorer who can pass. He's always been a scorer. He's always been good at it. And to his credit, he got better and better at it as he got older because he used to just be a driver to the basket, Swiss Army knife, can get to the rim, right? Because he came into the league in an era where they packed the paint. It was a lot of floppy plays that they ran, down screen and curls. So he had to get a lot of mid-range work in. If you look at old LeBron, meaning young LeBron, back in the early 2000s, a lot of his baskets were to the rim because nobody could stop him, and a lot of 15, 17 foot because the paint was just packed. There wasn't a lot of space, and he didn't trust his jump shot. as he's gotten older and as he's sharpened his game and gotten his game better, he's been able to move himself back further. He's become a good to serviceable to good three-point shooter now, consistently at about 34, 35% from three. So that is scoring. He has evolved his game and become a better scorer because now he's got a fadeaway to his game off the left or right shoulder, off the baseline. He's got a sidestep to his game, right? He got a three ball he's added to his game. So he's just evolved with what the game is today. Again, he played in the Kobe and T-Mac, Paul Pierce era. Now he's in the James Harden, Steph Curry era, and he's evolved his game. So LeBron James at number 5, one of the best scorers ever. At number 4, Kobe Bean Bryant, the Black Mamba, Mr. Number 81, all right, a 2-time scoring champ. Now, I told y'all, as we get closer to number 1, we get real technical, okay? And we dive into the science of putting the ball in the basket. When it comes to scoring and the precision and the footwork that an offensive player has to have to create space, to get your shot up over anybody, to get your shot up from anywhere on the court, there ain't too many people that do it as well as Kobe Bryant did it, okay? And when we talk about numbers, there was a month where he averaged 40 points one season. I think it was like a month of March. He averaged 40 for the month, maybe 2006. The same year he dropped 81 points in a game. And he did it. He wasn't beating his chest. He wasn't talking trash. He just went to work. And they needed every single bucket. It was in January of 2006. I remember coming home. I remember I was in college, right? We had a game that night. And this was before everybody had cell phones. Social media wasn't really a thing in 2006. So we didn't hear about it till we got back to school. And we went to the community center where the big TV was. You can see everybody's talking about, did y'all see the game? Did y'all hear about what happened? We get to the Lou, shout out to the Lou at TIU, at Trinity International. We get in there and it's everywhere. Kobe Bryant scores 81 points and nobody believed it, right? 81 points in a basketball game. And then they showed how he did it and how they were down 20 to Toronto. And he basically flipped the game around and by the end of it, they were up 20. But the way he was scoring, I'm talking about double teams, triple teams. They were trying to run zone. He double, triple pump faking, making his free throws, getting to the rack, hitting mid-ranges, floaters, fadeaways, one dribble pull-ups, face-ups, threes, catch and shoot threes, just showing his complete scoring arsenal that game. I've seen that game now and those highlights probably hundreds of times since then. It was almost 20 years ago. So that is the guy we're talking about here at number 4. Just how he scored the basketball, the relentlessness in which he attacked you on the floor and where he could do it from and how he utilized the triangle, studying MJ, how he can get his points, how to pick his spots, and then learning how to come back behind the three-point line and be a great three-point shooter. At one point, Kobe had the record for three-pointers made in a game at 12. This is when Reggie Miller, this is when Ray Allen, Allen Houston, these guys were in the NBA, and Kobe had the most three-pointers made in a game. So when we talk about scoring and we talk about at an elite level, Kobe Bean Bryant is at number 4. At number 3, so I put this on Facebook a couple of days ago. Who is y'all greatest scorers of all time? Who do y'all think? And KD was all in the comments. Like people were saying Kevin Durant, not actual KD. But for good reason. Because all of the things that I talked about these other guys do, this guy does it at 7 feet tall. Okay? The era he's playing in now, right? With spacing and the way Steph Curry shoots and the way James Harden gets space and the technician that Kobe was, all of these things. This is Kevin Durant. You can put KD on any team in the NBA, and he's going to walk in your gym and average 27 points a game, which is what he does for his career. I think he's 6th all-time in scoring average. He has 4 scoring titles, Again, this is when prime Kobe was playing. This is when Paul Pierce was still in the league. This is Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, all your favorite players, LeBron James, all these guys were in the league. Carmelo Anthony and Kevin Durant was winning scoring titles left and right because he can just simply put the ball in the basket. If you talk about somebody mastering a part of their game, scoring in every single situation, in every facet, on any side of the court, over any defender, on any point of the floor, Kevin Durant has it all offensively to me. One of the greatest offensive players ever, right? He's got the one-legged Dirk fadeaway. He's got the hezzy pull-up. He's got the pin down. He's got the floppy. He's got the drag. He's got the swing throughs. He's got everything you need, pick and pop. Him and Steph, when he was in Golden State, that 1-3 pick and roll was the deadliest thing I've ever seen offensively because you didn't know what the hell you was going to get, okay? Both of them can shoot from anywhere, but KD's 7 feet tall. So one of the greatest scorers ever, the Slim Reaper, KD, I got him at number 3. At number 2, you cannot talk about NBA and scoring and dominance without talking about Wilt Chamberlain, okay? The things Wilt Chamberlain did offensively changed basketball. They changed the rules because of how dominant Wilt Chamberlain was on the offensive end, okay? They changed the key. The paint used to be smaller than it is now. It wasn't as wide. They changed that because of how dominant Wilt Chamberlain was in his era, okay? So the Big Dipper from in 1963 averaging 50 points a game in a season. You talk about dominance. And some people going to get in the comments and say, oh, but look at the era he was playing in and he wasn't playing against nobody, da-da-da-da-da. He can't help when he was born, okay? You got to dominate when you were alive and when you played. So he did that. And he did it at an insane clip. One of 2 players in NBA history to average 30 points a game for his career. Wilt Chamberlain, again, 7-time scoring champ. And it's not like he played with some slouches that didn't score. Elgin Baylor was putting up numbers. Jerry West was putting up numbers. John Havlicek was putting up numbers. Kareem played in this era. So it's not like he didn't play against guys that didn't score, okay? And he did his thing, 7-time scoring champ, second most all time. The great Wilt Chamberlain dominated his era, ahead of his time. And at number 1, Michael Jordan, MJ, okay? When we talk about scoring, if you look at any Google, you look at any chat, GPT, any AI, you ask anybody that knows basketball, when you hear scoring, you think Michael Jordan, okay? Some people are going to get in here and say, but you said all-time scoring and all these things combined, all these factors, Jordan wasn't that good of a three-point shooter. All right, listen. The way Michael Jordan dominated the game, in spite of not shooting threes for most of his career, tells you how dominant of a scorer he was, okay? He's the all-time leading scorer average in NBA history, slightly over Wilt Chamberlain because he played in the Wizards years. That kind of lowered his average, but he's still over Wilt by some decimals. Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 points for a season, and Michael Jordan still averages more points than him for his career. 10 scoring titles. Okay? Clutch. At every facet of the game you want, he can give it to you. When we talk about how technical Kobe Bryant was, this is who he learned it from. When we talk about the footwork, the precision when it came to when to shoot the ball, how to shoot the ball over defenders, how to create space, right? How to look for your shots, how to control momentum with how you scored, knowing when to score. This is a scorer's mentality. Scoring is not just about putting the ball in the basket. It's about knowing when to score, how to score, where to score, how to get in the rhythm. If you're not feeling it that night, get into the foul line to get a rhythm. when to attack, when to lay off, right? Jordan had all of those things. He was a master at it. So it's not like he just had 10 scoring titles because all he did was score. His team needed him to score to win, but he can do everything else too. But 10 scoring titles after playing 13 years for the Bulls, right? And again, how he did the scoring is what puts him on top as the greatest scorer ever, okay? So even when he got older in his career, his post game, so you don't have to listen to me. You listen to the guys he played against. They tell you he had no weaknesses, right? None. So when he got older, the second iteration of Jordan with the Bulls, that second three-peat, when he got to the post, there was nothing you can do with him there. And he was still athletic enough to get to the rim, but the mid-range, he's probably the greatest mid-range shooter ever. So anything 10 to 15 to 17 feet is money. He's a 50% field goal shooter for his career at the shooting guard position. I didn't even talk about Kevin Durant. He's Mr. 50, 40, 90. KD is. He damn near averages 50, 40, 90 for his career. I forgot to give him that salute too. But MJ, in an era where efficiency wasn't really a thing unless you were a center, at the shooting guard position, for him to go down on the other end and be the best defensive player on the court, to come back on the offensive end and be the best offensive player and the most efficient offensive player, speaks to the greatness of Michael Jordan as an all-time scorer. So that's the list. Y'all let me know what y'all think. All right. We got the top 10 scores of all time. At number 10, we got the Iceman, George Gervin. At number 9, we got James Harden, the Beard. At number 8, AI, the answer, Allen Iverson. Number 7, Steph Curry. At number 6, we got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 5, we go with LeBron James. At number 4, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Number 3, the Slim Reaper, Mr. 50, 40, 90, KD. Number 2, Wilt the Stilt, 50 points per game for a season, most dominant Big Dipper. At number 1, MJ, Michael Jordan. That's our top 10. All right. So y'all comment below. Let me know what you think. Who are your top 10 greatest scorers of all time? All right. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, episode 92. We're on YouTube every Wednesday night and anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Before we get out of here, we know we got to hit y'all with that 2-minute warning. And it goes like this. Positivity. Okay. I know you hear a lot about being positive and do positive things and all that. I want to talk about positive in terms of affirmations and making a deal with yourself. Okay. Make a deal with yourself in the morning that you're going to be positive, or this is going to be a positive day. But don't just say that. Say this is going to be a positive day because blank, and hold yourself accountable, right? I started doing this a couple months ago and it's been working for me. Okay. When I give y'all these 2-minute warnings, they're off personal experience, right? I wake up now and tell myself, Jay, you're going to have a good day because of this, because you're going to work out in the morning and get it over with. You're going to have a good day today because you're going to get your tasks done at work. You're going to leave work and know all your work has been done for the day. You're going to have a great day because you got a date tonight with Miss D. Like things like that. So do that for yourself. And you know what they say, 21 days of doing something, it becomes a habit. So this is just about positive reinforcement. Okay. That's the main thing. If you can wake up in the morning, or if you can go to sleep with positive thoughts, or wake up and say, you know, today's going to be a good day because of these things. And you make that deal with yourself, and you make that agreement with yourself, and you hold yourself accountable. More than likely, you're going to have a good day. Like you've already set yourself up for success. Like that's half the battle, is starting your day off with positive affirmation and making a deal with yourself that you're going to see it through. So try that out. try that out for the next couple of days, telling yourself, I'm going to have a good day because of blank, instead of just saying, oh, today going to be a good day. And then, it rains outside and your shoes get muddy, and then that just messes up your whole day. Go out and try to wake up. You can't go out and try to, but wake up and tell yourself, today is going to be a good day because of blank. And then hold yourself accountable to that and see where it takes you, right? And see if that makes your days more positive. It's been helping me personally. That's why I felt like I wanted to have this 2-minute warning to let y'all know holding yourself accountable is the biggest reward of anything, because nobody else should be your biggest critic than you. You have to live with yourself at the end of the day. And when you can hold yourself accountable and achieve, everything else kind of falls into place. So take that with y'all. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in to the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, episode 92. Episode 100 is coming September 17th. We are at Bogey's Pub in Leawood, Kansas. All right. Want everybody to tune in. I got advertising all over social media. Go to the bar if you haven't been. It's a great spot. It's a Bears bar and it's a KC Chiefs bar. It's a good time. We love going there. We've done a couple of live episodes there. I cannot wait to do the 100th episode. This literally is a celebration. Okay. Come to hang out and have a good time. And then there'll be some podcasting going on too. Sure. But I'm going to get there around 6:30. I'm there to greet people, thank people for coming, have a good time, take some photos, and make this a moment. This is a monumental moment, 100 episodes, September 17th. And then I'm going to get into the podcast at 8 p.m. So come early, hang out with some people, meet some new people, talk about some sports, have a good time. Football season will be in swing then. Come down to Bogey's Pub. We're going to have raffles. So there will be some X-Factor Sportz gear, hats and shirts, sweatshirts. Bogey's is even going to supply some swag. They may get some of their coasters, some Bogey swag will be in there, some towels. I'm going to try to see if they can get some gift cards in there for people to come and get food. So it's going to be a great time. We hope to have a big audience for the 100th episode at Bogey's Pub. Come check us out September 17th. All right. The gear, we got it coming through. The hats will be here tomorrow, so I'm going to ship those out once they get to me. So those of y'all who ordered hats, you should see those next week. We got the grays and the blacks coming back. And then also Snooch is almost done with the shirts. So whoever ordered their shirts, those will be coming to you here shortly as well. Click the QR code or scan it, or you can hit me up on social media. Let me know your size and colors. We can get those out to you. The gear is here. Can't wait to put it on and show it to y'all. All right. Be sure to support the X-Factor Sportz Podcast. Again, this is Jay Mondane, episode 92 of the X-Factor Sportz Podcast, season 8, episode 8. I'm glad y'all can come through and check us out. We are on YouTube every week.